Hello and welcome to a how-to video for SAP Business One. In this video, I'm going to show you how to onboard a new user. And in this video, the agenda is going to be we're going to set up the user, then we're going to assign them a license, and then we're going to show you how to do general authorizations. So first thing we're going to do in our menu here, we're going to go to Users, and that's going to be found under Administration, Setup, General, and Users. Once we have our users up here, we're going to click the Add icon here. And we're going to start entering in some information. Now, first thing up here, we're going to check and see if they're a super user or a mobile user. For this demonstration here, I'm not going to check them as a super user because I know we're going to go into authorizations and that will mark everything as full authorization and won't let me alter it. So we won't mark them as that. Mobile user to be used if they're using a mobile app and that's set up there. So first thing, we're going to put in our user code. So the user code is what they're going to use to log in. So this is something you're going to want to write down and give to the new user here. And keeping in mind that this is case sensitive. So we're just going to simply call this test user. Now the username, it's not mandatory, but I will say that at the very top of the screen, when you see the database and the name, this is what the display name is. Let's make sure we put that in here. Now, under the General tab here, some of these are optional, so we can put in an email address, any information as far as phone, device ID. I know those are important when setting up SAP Mobile. We'll skip over those for now. And then we're going to assign them to different departments. So let's say you do have different branches and branches set up. You could set that up here. Do you have that in any department? You could set that up in a department here. Groups will be important, especially as we get into authorizations, because if you have authorizations set up for certain groups, you could simply assign them here and they'll pick up the authorizations of that whole group here. And I'm not going to cover the rest of these, but there are UI configuration templates and other customizations that you could assign them to so that they could pick up those that visual as if it's a UI configuration. And I'm also going to kind of skip over form settings as well, where you can copy to that specific user. If interested, I do have some other videos on that where you can do that here. So let's say we're just going to keep this for now. We're going to customize this and make it personal to this user. So we won't assign a group at this time. Next piece is your password. Now, we want to make this something that we can hand off to the user. So for me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in something simple. It's going to be capital W, welcome, ELCOME, the number one, and an exclamation point. I know that that fits within our password policy. And that's something else I'm going to write down as well. So two things I'm going to provide to this user so that they can log in is I'm going to give them their user code and I'm going to give them this initial password. Now from here, I always check in here, change password at next logon. So when they do log in, the first log on, it'll prompt them to create their own personalized password. So that welcome one is just temporary here. Some other things that are just optional here, you can make the password never expires, all depending on your company's policies there. And then I wouldn't click lock because then they would get a red bar that they would be locked here. So simply enough, we have everything we need from a very basic perspective to get this user set up. So we're going to add them. Looks like we've used it before, so bear with me there. I'm just going to to say yes, we're going to create that user. Now that they've been created, there's a couple things that we can go in no particular order here, but we're going to go to license administration. Now that they're a user, we need to give them a license. That can be found under administration, license, and license administration. And it's going to open up a license administration here, and we're going to find our user in this left column here. So here's our new user. And over here is what's available. Now let's say I want to give this a professional user license. If you don't assign a license, what will happen is when they do log in, they'll get a red bar to say they don't have a license to perform that action. So this is giving them the ability to do that. Now, there are different types of licenses here, professionals, limited licenses. So up to you what that user's role will be. So we'll update that. And now they have a license. Last thing on my checklist here is authorizations. So I'm going to simply look for auth and we're going to go to general authorizations. And that's going to be found under administration, system initialization, authorizations, and then general. Now, what I was saying earlier, if you did assign them to a group, we do have some authorization groups here that are predefined. I could have put them in here and just pick up the authorizations, and then I would not have to come in here to set them. Um, And that's usually the most efficient way for a company to onboard, so you don't have to come through here and go through each line item and give them individual authorizations. So we're going to find our user here, and what you're going to see is they already have some authorizations in here already, but majority is no. So simply enough, I could go through here one by one and say I want to give them, authorization to do sales orders, returns. It's working your way down through this list and giving access to whatever you'd like them to do and whatever their role may be. If it is the entire section, so if they would do all of sales and AR, little tip, you can get full and it will mark everything underneath that arrow as full. So I won't go through all of these, but this is how you'd work your way through and define what they'll have access to. If you do not give them access to it, they will get a red bar to say that they don't have access to that particular area. So if you did want to limit them to, important things like chart of accounts and P&L and things like that, you are able to through here. You just find the module, you find the specific area, just make sure it's marked as no, and then update, and then that user is all set up. Thank you for watching this video. As always, please reach out to us here at Support One with any questions. Click on the link to subscribe for more content.